hold at your heart. And feel the blessing of your practice and the blessing of this day. Feel the blessing of mantra as it surrounds us with light and protection. Om Namo Guru Dev Namo, tuning us in to the greatest love, the highest love, our soul. And feeling that soul so supported as the mantra tunes us into Yogi Bhajan and the Kundalini lineage, the masters on high, the angelic realm. Tuning us into the very nature of life and the magic of breath and the destiny of miracles that is ours on this day and for all our days. Satnam. So we're going to do a class. Did everyone get this Dan thing? So we'll pass it around. Not that I expect you to learn it, so don't worry. But we are in the House of Miracles. So Guru Ram Das's birthday is next Sunday, October 9th. So what we are doing is we're bringing in this mantra to get us into the idea that anything is possible and any miracle is possible. So you can take this and then Google Dan and find out what it means. I always want you to know so that you don't feel like, oh my God, is she doing to us now? So that you can be in that. We're going to do some work today. The Kriya is self-renewal. The meditation is going to be for the heart. And we are opening up to a miracle. So I want to tell you a little bit about Guru Ram Das. So there's a great story. There was this wonderful, pretty affluent Sikh family, and the oldest daughter was that age where, hey, it's time for you to get married. And dad kept bringing in good guys. You know, they had the background. They were kind of handsome. They were nice. It's like, marry him. And she said, no. And she was a very austere, very devoted young woman. And she just kept saying, no, Dad, that's not it. And so finally, he kind of lost his cool with her, and he said, you know what? The next person who walks by this house, you're going to marry them. And the next guy who walked by had disease all over his body. He was hunched over. He was completely crippled with a disease. And so she was like, and the family's like, and the mom's like, surely, he's not going to go through that. But he's like, no, that's it. And you can't have any dowry, and you can't, you're just going to marry him tomorrow and take off. So the only thing she asked for was her shuni and a basket. So when she got married, he was so fragile from being so sick, she put him in a basket, and she carried him. And she left the village, and she would go from town to town and do things to make money and have food, and she took care of them the best they could. On this one day, they were on a hillside, and there was this beautiful lake and a tree, and she put him in the basket underneath the tree in the shade, and she says, I'm going to go to town and do what I can to get some food, and I'll be back as soon as I can. Okay, all right. So she goes to town. Now, he's in his basket, and he's watching, and these birds, these black birds are going, whoosh, and they're flying down into the lake and coming out, and they're like sparkling crystals when they come out. They go down into the thing, and they come out crystally, these magical birds. And he's like, whoa. So he starts rocking his basket. He's like, I'm going to figure this out. And then he rolls down the hill. And he gets to the water's edge, and he's like, and he takes his foot out, and it is completely healed. And he's like, woohoo, I hit the mother lode. So he gets all the way into here, and he checks it out. Yep, I'm good. So he goes all the way in except for his index finger. He keeps his index finger out. So then he sits back under the tree with his basket. He's handsome, and he's strong, and he's healthy. And she comes, and she sees him in the basket. She says, what have you done to my husband? Where is he? She starts freaking out and crying. He's like, no, honey, it's me. I'm him. Oh, no. He goes, I knew you wouldn't believe it. So I left one part of me out. And she looked at his index finger, and sure enough, it was all the disease he had been before. She was like, wow. So it's a miracle, right? And then they noticed this amazing ashram that they hadn't really even noticed, even higher up on the hill. And they're like, well, that must be somehow connected to this beautiful healing. So they go, and it is the house of Guru Ram Das. And they meet this amazing guru. And one of the stories of Guru Ram Das, too, is when people would come, he would dress as a servant, and he would be out there and wash your feet. And then when you came to see the guru, there he'd be. And, you know, a lot of people got a little called on their you-know-what, because some of them weren't so nice to the guy who washed their feet. And then they'd go see the guru, and they'd be like, oh, you know, about that, you know. So those are some stories about Guru Ram Das. Miraculous. He was so blessed that his heart and his aura actually, you know, evoked healing in the waters around him. So what we know, we've heard of these amazing healers, and, you know, I love Jesus, and one of the things about Jesus, he would walk down the street. That woman who was so hurt and so sick, she barely got herself out to the street. She almost missed him, but reached out and touched his robe, and she was healed. So we hear these things of these avatars, and this is what this has to do today. These avatars healed you because they loved you, period. And that love was a miracle, because the miracle was they saw you as you really are. There was nothing to heal. Because of their consciousness, they didn't see your illness. Now, that's a very obvious one, right, with sickness. But what about your cruelty? What about people that gossip? What about people that are stingy? And a person of that consciousness doesn't even see that. And there are people that are kind of like that too. I actually know a couple that are just that high alchemy. So here's what so I'll say, yeah, you know, that person's like really stingy or blah, blah, blah. And this person was like, really? I've never seen them act that way. Now, is it because they're not actually that way, or is it because the consciousness of that person is so elevated that people around them do not sink to their lowest common denominator? So this is a big thing, because, you know, we've gone through all this psychology, and a lot of it was Piscean, and oh my God, self-care, and I'm really important, and don't fucking take advantage of me, and you know, all this, which is fine, that's a part of it, yay. But did it work? Not so much. So we're going to do a flip for this next 9 days, and perhaps the thing that really needs to happen is you're so high on love, you're so elevated, nobody goes down. And if they do, you're fine with it. I'm so convinced of this. You know, these last sadhanas, it's like I just feel Guru Ram Das and that power of being so in love with God, which translates being so in love with you, which translates being so in love with everyone around you. So the mantra we're going to sing, it talks about that everybody comes from Guru Ram Das. So don't get all, you know, religious on it. Oh no, I thought it came from, you know. It's just, you know, words. And in some way, you're Guru Ram Das, and you're Guru Ram Das, and you're Guru Ram Das, and you and I came from each other. I come from you. I am only here because you see me. You stop seeing me, I'm not here. That's how intertwined we are. This is one consciousness. And, you know, I have to say, most of the time being here, I must be like a really sick soul or something, because I needed a lot of love and appreciation to be able to sit here, right? And because, I mean, I get my complaints, don't get me wrong. I got crucified on Facebook about 6 months ago. That was fun. Anyway, but most of the time, y'all really love me. So what happens is, you're creating this. If you weren't so much into this, I don't get to shine. You're buying into it, and I'm buying into you. I believe you love me, and you believe I love you, and we're doing this thing because we're in it together, and we're co-creating this experience. And so that's the biggest thing at the soul of Kundalini and Kundalini Crazy. I want us to get through our heads how responsible we are for our reality. It is nobody's fault. You know, I know some of you have really bad childhoods, but I got a real doozy one. And it's fine. It's really fine. And you know what's super weird? You know, and you can't say this to a psychiatrist or they might think you're nuts, which, you know. Anyway, if you heal enough, now this is the trippy part. It's almost like some of the things didn't even happen. It's bizarre. It goes into that, you know, and you can't go with your human mind on that. But so one of the things with Guru Ratana, with her neutrality, for me, maybe this will help you. Some thought forms are sticky. You know what I mean? They just stick to you. If you just apply energy and just loosen up, don't fix it, don't heal it, don't make it wrong, but just don't be so sticky, they will eventually get further away. They may still be in your sphere, but they're not like all you see. But the only way to do that is to do this kind of practice, which when we're in poses where you wish you could put your hands down and all that crap is going on, that, you know why we're doing that? So you deal with your stickiness. So you have the experience. You're going to be like this for a while in this Kriya. This is like, my mom did it, she was super mean, sticking on me, right? And there's a point in a Kriya where you're like, and your body is no longer a problem. Now, the body is a very physical, like more dense experience, but the body is trying to teach you to unstick from your mind. Ultimately, that's always what the Kriya is doing. Look, because the body is like a big mind too. It's made up of all this it remembers. It's like a big mind too. It's just not so quick. It's not going 10,000 at a time. It's more of a field of thought. So when you can take the vehicle and get through a thought form, then the mind, a little chunk of it goes, oh, you know what? I'm going to redirect. That's why we're doing it. So we're going to get unsticky. We're going to redirect so we can be in a higher love. It's up to us, you know, and I think it's hilarious, this whole Hillary Trump thing. It's so funny. You know, it's like, oh my God. You know, and you got to know, oh my God, I'm Trump. How scary is that? And I'm Hillary. I mean, they don't exist if I don't buy into it. It's weird. And you like look at it and you're like, wow. And all you can do is go, oh, it's okay. I love you. You know, all you can do is apply love and hold them in a space, because even that weirdness, one of them's going to win. It doesn't matter who. And the biggest thing that matters is what you think about it, because there's going to be billions of heads creating psychosis, disaster, death and destruction. And then when you sit back and go, oh my God, I can't believe Trump and Hillary did that. Oh, no.
Oh.
Your head projected it. So that's what we're doing here. Let's get our heads on straight and find a way. And that's why, like, relationship, marriage, families, we practice there. If you have a super crazy family, good for you. Because God is like, you know what? You need to practice all the time, honey. There is no break for you. We're going to put them in your house. You are that lucky. Okay. I've said my piece. So let's move. All right, so because we're going to end up with this. We're not going to do breath of fire that way. We're going to start on our hands and knees with cat and cow, okay? So hands underneath the shoulders. You're going to inhale, exhale at a good pace. Is it just me or is it like super hot?
No, it's like super.
Okay, good. I'm going to change our reality. But it's also, yeah, I am super hot, right? Oh, okay.